Alexee Trevizo was a high school senior, seemingly enjoying her final year of high school, doing well academically and as a cheerleader before heading off to college. But on January 27th, 2023, all of that changed. Alexee and her mother went to the hospital because Alexee was having terrible back pain. But it wasn't a back issue. Alexee was pregnant and was in labor. At one point, she left her hospital room and went to the bathroom. While inside, she delivered the baby, then returned to the hospital room without the baby. The child was eventually found by a member of the cleaning crew. The baby was wrapped in and covered in plastic and not alive. Tonight, we have video from inside the hospital room, surveillance video from the hallway, and the shocking reactions from Alexee and her mom as we try to figure out what happened, how it happened, and why it happened. Alexee's attorney joins us live for an interview, and we speak with the doctor who testified in the case of another cheerleader who gave birth by herself and had a trial on court TV, Skylar Richardson. All this as we try to understand the case of this teenage mother charged with the murder of her newborn.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And we've seen and heard stories like this in the past. These are not easy, but unfortunately, they're not that uncommon. So we've got an important discussion today. We're trying to get to the bottom of why could something like this happen? So let's start with a case that we covered here on Court TV involving a young woman named Skylar Richardson. Now, Skylar got pregnant. She hid the pregnancy from her parents, from her mother, pretty much from everyone. She gave birth by herself in her room, and she was arrested and charged with the murder of that child. And the headlines when it first happened were, cheerleader, blonde, burns her newborn alive. Those were the headlines. She burned the child alive. They got her to admit to that on video. Then we had a trial, and we heard the evidence, and we saw the evidence. Turns out the child wasn't burned alive. The state's own expert mistakenly said that initially and then retracted that opinion. Child was never burned. So we saw a false confession in the case here on Court TV, and from there, the state's case went completely downhill. She was found not guilty of killing her newborn, and they came to the conclusion that the child was stillborn, or there was reasonable doubt in the case. So Skylar Richardson, big headlines, accused of being this monster. Turns out the jury did not believe any of it. Now, another case we've covered recently, this one in New Mexico, involving a young woman. This is a woman named Alexee Trevizo in New Mexico. And you remember that video of a baby being tossed in a dumpster. Now, this case, tragic on many ends, but the child survived. There were some people, some dumpster divers who happened to go to those dumpsters and find the child still alive miraculously. But the mother got 16 years for attempted murder for what she did, getting rid of that 18 years old, getting rid of the baby, tossing her newborn into the dumpster, but that baby survived. Tonight's story, also from New Mexico, involves a young woman, Alexee Trevizo. She gave birth in a hospital, but not like in a hospital room with doctors, in the bathroom. That's where all this happened. And we're going to show you some video tonight of everything that we know from the surveillance camera, from the body cams of the responding officers, what people had to say. But it's so different than all these other ones. So different that she's actually in a hospital. Yet leaves the hospital room at the moment that she's in labor and delivering the child, and delivers the child in the bathroom, leaves the child in the bathroom, goes back to the hospital room where her mom is and the doctors and the staff. So really, the question I think that we all have is how could this happen? How could you be in a hospital and be pregnant and somehow run off to the bathroom and give birth by yourself, and the child doesn't survive. You know, prosecutors, investigators believe this is murder. The defense not agreeing as to what really happened here. But how did all this happen? How could it happen? So let's start by going through the video that we have from this day. And it's bizarre. We started at 1:38 a.m. Alexee is seen running into the bathroom. Then at 1:39, there's her mom, walks up to the bathroom door. Okay, so that's like a minute later. And obviously her mom's gonna, checking on her, what's going on, where are you, why aren't you in the room? She was admitted to the hospital for severe back pain that she was suffering from. She wasn't there, she didn't think, she didn't say she was pregnant. I don't know if she knew she was pregnant. Her mother didn't know, I could tell you that for sure. So that's at 1:38. Now we flash forward like another 10 minutes to 1:48. Mom checks on the bathroom door again. So now Alexee's been in there, 11 minutes at this point. So mom's obviously a little bit worried about what's going on. What is happening inside that room? What are you doing? And I don't know what that conversation is. We don't have audio of this part of the video, but what's that conversation? Because presumably this is the moment that she's giving birth to a child inside there. And you see some staff members wandering around as well in the hallway there. Now mom's heading back, and she's worried. I'm sure she's a little confused. I don't know if she knows what's going on here. So that's all at 1:48. Now you flash forward almost another 10 minutes to 1:57, and this is when Alexee leaves the bathroom with a doctor and a staff member. There you see, but no baby. She's just leaving. She's going back now. So all of that happens from 1:38 to 1:57. All that is happening. And people are going back. Okay, we're going back to the room. Now we flash forward to 2:25 a.m. and a cleaning woman brings out the trash can, and now she's calling for help because in the trash can is the baby boy. So this is when the discovery is made, 2:25, right? So it's less than an hour since Alexee first went in there, and now the body of the child is being discovered, and I can't imagine what that was like, that moment for the cleaning woman. Now the doctors are coming. What is going on here? It's confusion, it's chaos. People cannot believe what they are seeing and what has just happened inside of a hospital. This is a hospital. And now you've got the body, and you've got to take some action here. Like, what just happened here, folks? It's extremely confusing. This is not simple, young woman sneaks off somewhere, gives birth, prom mom throws the baby in a dumpster. This is something completely different. Completely. You're at a hospital, and now everyone's trying to figure out, what do we do? We've got a baby in a trash can in the bathroom. Wow. And now that's the baby now being brought into one of the rooms. Okay, that's shocking enough, like on many different levels and layers in all of this. So now we're going to play for you some of the police body cam at the hospital, and this is where the officers are kind of talking to each other about what is happening and what just happened inside this hospital. Let's watch.
We did a pregnancy test on her, showed positive. She was denying that she had sex. Then she said she had to go to the bathroom. She went to the bathroom. She was in there for quite a while. We kept knocking on the door. Finally, we got her to open the door, and there was blood and shit everywhere. She was cleaning it up. So we took her back to the room, and I was afraid that she knew she was pregnant. She had done something to herself. So the doctor started doing a vaginal exam on her. We had the lady come to clean the bathroom. She put the baby in the trash can, and then she put another clean liner over the top of it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when they looked in there, there was no trash in there, but it was underneath the clean bag. The baby's dead. Okay, we have him in trauma too, but she killed the kid.
Yeah. How old was the baby?
I don't know. It's full term. She just had it. She had it in the bathroom. Was what happened, and then whatever she did, I don't know. She's gonna lie. She wouldn't tell us she's pregnant. She's been lying the whole time.
Okay.
So that's what's going on. I just pulled the doctor out of the room, so nothing's been said to the patient or the mother that's in there yet.
Okay.
I have Leela, the housekeeper, if you want to interview her.
Yeah.
She's the one that kind of found
Yeah, because I wanted to get with you guys first and then get with her to get her statement before I even did anything.
Well, I'm the charge, and this is what has happened.
Okay.
You can interview the nurse that had her,
Okay.
the two nurses that were taking care of her. You can talk to the tech, which is Lori. She's the one that went in there and actually found it, because Leela's like, this is really heavy.
Okay.
So then Lori went in there, and then of course the baby was underneath the clean liner.
Okay. Yeah. If we can speak with Lori, because I would
Okay,
get her
I'll get
statement.
Lori, and I'll
So, officers, though, the first thing though is I need to make sure that the mother, the woman who delivered the baby, is medically stable. I don't know if she delivered a placenta. She's bleeding a lot. I just got her accepted to Loveless, so I need to get her up there as soon as possible.
Okay. Take this over here right
Okay, so how I need to tell her what's going on, and I need to tell the mother what's going. The mother, and they're both in there together. Is one of you willing to be present for that conversation? Are you guys going?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go in right now and do that. We discovered a dead baby in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. It came out of me and I didn't know what to do.
Lexi, I told you about this.
But it
I
was
just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
scary. It was not crying or nothing.
What did you do to it?
Okay, stop right here.
I
Stop,
just put
stop.
it in.
Number one priority, guys. Number one priority is she just had a baby. I don't know if she's delivered the placenta. She's bleeding significantly.
Yeah.
I've spoken to the obstetrician at Loveless. They want her up there as soon as possible.
Okay.
I obviously need your permission to transfer her for medicals. She needs to be.
She's 19.
Oh, you're right.
But she is a student too.
She's
No,
still
no,
19
you're
years old.
right. You're right. She needs to. I'm sorry, I forgot she's
A
19.
lot came out of me.
But you need to make sure that you're safe. I need to send you to Loveless to labor delivery. Will you please agree to that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. I'm gonna work on that. I'm sorry about this, but in terms of delivering a baby and it looked like you tried to hide it, we do have to have the police involved.
And nothing was crying. It came out with nothing.
I know. But the baby's gonna have to be taken for autopsy and there'll be an investigator and everything. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But we need to do this correctly. And I want to be transparent with you about what our steps are going to be. Okay. Officer, do you guys need to talk to her before we get her transferred?
How long is it going to be before you have to transfer
I
out?
don't know. Are we working on?
Okay.
Marina, do you think 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, hopefully, yes.
Okay.
I got detectives on the way, so
Okay.
they're going to be talking to her.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you guys have, I'm the charge nurse here. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Like how big is the baby?
It's full term.
What?
9 months?
Nothing was crying.
Lexi, have you watched the news of the girls that what they do to their babies and what they go to jail?
Nothing was crying.
Any other questions? Okay.
So as of right now, like we're going to say this, we're going to have the detectives come over here and they're going to talk to you, okay? We have to gather some more information about what's going on. They'll get your statement. They're going to get the doctor's statements. They're going to get everybody's statements, okay? So I don't know everything yet, okay? So I'm not going to tell you, I can't tell you nothing honestly, okay? All I'm going to say is,
Gonna go to jail.
right now,
No.
right now she's being detained. So she's not going to leave from here at all, period, okay? So one of us will
Is
be
it in your custody? Like.
yeah, she's detained.
Oh, my
Yeah, she's not under arrest, but she is
Okay.
detained. Okay, she's not free to leave. So while this whole thing is coming up, is you're not free to leave. Okay, one of us will be in here the whole time with you, because you're not going to try to leave or nothing like that.
Okay, so at that point, she then gets airlifted to care for her because she just delivered a baby. There's some issues, so they get the care that she needed. Let's flash forward 4 months later to May 10th. Police show up at her house. Take a look.
Okay, what's going on? What are we doing? I'll bring her out. Just tell me what's going on.
There's a warrant for her arrest.
Okay, for what?
I will give it to her whenever.
Can I see a warrant?
She can see the warrant or she gets arrested.
But this is my house. I have a right to see the warrant.
I'll let you know she has a warrant for her arrest. We have a search warrant for your house. We have a warrant for her arrest.
Okay, can we see the warrant?
Yeah, once we get all of her, she'll get a copy of it.
She gets a copy of it.
Can I go up there when you take her up there?
Yeah.
Go to the
Her
detention.
lawyer?
Here it is.
Everything? Okay, so what is she under arrest for?
She's over 18.
I understand that, Detective Gonzalez. What is she under arrest for?
She has a warrant for arrest. Okay?
For what?
That's all I'm going to tell you. Okay?
What do you mean that's all you're going to tell me?
And she's over the age of 18.
I understand that, but I have a right to know as well.
And we'll tell you that, but we
Okay, then let me know now.
We need the cooperation.
Let me know now. I'm giving you the cooperation. I told you everything. Answer my question.
Well,
what is she under arrest for?
Like I said, she's over the age of 18. Like, that we can't relinquish that information. But if you bring her out here, we'll tell you.
What is she under arrest for?
If you bring her out here, we'll tell you right in front of you.
No, I'm not bringing her out here yet. Let me know what she's under
She's going
arrest
to get
for.
arrested regardless, ma'am. I mean, that's just, I don't know why you want
For what?
this.
For what? For what?
You okay with telling me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me.
Homicide. Open count of homicide. And tampering with evidence.
Tampering with evidence?
Yes.
At the hospital?
Yes.
So, can we see her now?
Give me a minute.
What's your name?
Alexee.
Okay. What's the last 4 of your social?
She don't even know it.
You don't know it?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Alexia, do you know your date of birth?
Yes.
Okay.
What is it?
11/25/03.
Yeah.
Do you have to walk her all the way up there? Can you bring your car up there?
It's up to you.
Yeah.
That's all. Just please.
I'll go get it.
Alexia, are you okay with your mom getting your criminal complaint when we get to the detention center? It has your personal information
Can
on
you
it.
repeat that?
Are you okay with your mother getting the criminal complaint? It has your personal identifying information on it. Serial number, date of birth.
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. I have to serve you first, then your mom can get it, okay?
Okay.
I do. He's gonna move his unit around. No medications, anything you need to take while you're in there?
No, sir. No.
Okay.
She has still been, like, bleeding, so I don't know if she needs...
Do you have any, I don't know if they have tampons.
They do have family products.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure if you take your own, you can use your own if you need it.
Can she? Do you want to grab some? Can she grab some of that real quick? Or?
Yes.
Do you mind if
Get your little bag.
one of us goes with you?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just making sure you're doing...
Just grab it a little.
Okay. 3300 West Main Street, Public Safety Complex. If you just go through the front door, you know where we first spoke in the records?
Yeah.
If you just go over there. Is there any floor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll meet her in the front.
Okay. I'll get with him and do all stuff. Go to dispatch.
Okay. We'll meet you in the front, okay?
I'll be headed your way.
Under arrest, now charged with murder. So we know what one side says about what happened in the hospital, what it means. What's her defense? What's her story? When we come back, we'll hear from her attorney in a live interview. Plus, coming up next hour.
In Los Angeles, California, the king of pop, Michael Jackson, back in the news as his corporation is being sued by two men who say they were molested by Jackson when they were children. Tonight, we take a look at the allegations of Wade Robson and Jeff Safechuck, the subjects of the Leaving Neverland documentary.
Please keep an open mind and let me have my day in court. I deserve a fair trial like every other American citizen. I will be acquitted and vindicated when the truth is told.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
That demanded our attention.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves.
How in the world can a mother wait 30 days before reporting her child missing?
These are the trials that became legendary. And now you can relive them all in one place. Court TV Legendary Trials. Go to courttv.com/legendary trials to find out how to watch.
Okay, can we see the warrant?
Yeah, once we get all of her, she'll get a copy of it.
She gets a copy of it.
Can I go up there when you take her up there?
Yeah.
I'll call her lawyer, everything?
Follow me.
Okay, Alexee Trevizo under arrest. So what's her story? What's her defense? Let's find out. Joining us from Ruidoso, New Mexico, Alexee Trevizo's defense attorney, Gary Mitchell is with us. Gary, thanks so much for joining us. Really do appreciate it. I want to start. The first question, is Alexee in custody? Is she out on bond? What's her status right now?
She's out of custody under certain restrictions of the court, and we're honoring those, of course, but she's out.
And how would you describe her state of mind these days?
About as horrific as you can get, meaning that the harassment never stops. The constant calls to her home, which we've had to change numbers to avoid. Obviously, there's no social media because that is vicious. And she lives a pretty Spartan life right now. She's trying to get ready for college, but on the other hand, she can have no contact with witnesses, can't talk about the case with anybody but with me, and of course my investigators. And so it's a bit difficult for somebody that just graduated from high school and is 19 years of age.
So let's start here. She goes to the hospital. My understanding and the reporting that I've heard is always that she was having back pain. At what point do the people at the hospital, the staff, whether it's a doctor, a nurse, or someone, when do they figure out that she's pregnant?
At 51 minutes after midnight, they know she's pregnant because they ran the blood test and they came back. Now, they didn't tell her that she was pregnant. They didn't tell her for another 48 minutes. Well, they never told her. She learned that she was pregnant when she went to the bathroom. And by the way, a fact that's critical in this case is that they began administering morphine, a painkiller, and other painkillers to her for her low back pain and abdominal pain within 28 minutes after she was in the hospital. And then they didn't stop administering that, even though they knew that she was pregnant, and they were administering that through an IV. So this child was born having an extensive amount of morphine in its system, the fetus was. So we know that from the toxicology reports and the autopsy.
So if 1251, they determine that she's pregnant, how about being in labor? Like, I know labor can be quick sometimes, but at what point is she in labor, and how on earth, in such a short time from being in a hospital bed with staff and everything else, is she delivering a child in the bathroom?
Well, 48 minutes after they knew that she was pregnant, she tells the nurse she has to go to the bathroom really bad. And so they go in and they take the IV out of her arm. Now keep in mind, they didn't even have her dressed out. She wasn't in a hospital gown. She's still wearing the clothes she came in the hospital on, except her shoes are off. And so they unhook the IV from her, and she runs down the hall. You showed that to your viewers a few minutes ago. She runs down the hall to the bathroom where she has a baby and delivers the baby into the commode, and along with the placenta and everything else that goes on. So she was totally unaware of it and she thought she had to go to the bathroom. There's no question about that.
So you're telling me that they did the test and have they conceded that they knew she was pregnant at that point, or are you going by the timeline of the records that you've gotten so far?
No, they conceded that at the hearing that we had, and they've conceded that they had their computers on their desktops. That lab report was made to them at 51 minutes after midnight. It flashed across the screens to the doctor, to the charge nurse, to the nurse that was taking care of her, and to the nurse's station. And they weren't busy that night. It's not like this was a emergency room in a major city with lots of people running in and out. They were just all sitting around the nurse's station, and they came across the computer. So they knew. They knew when they went in. They knew at the time that they were giving her the morphine that she was pregnant.
And at the time that they're unhooking her and allowing her to go to the bathroom by herself, like, wouldn't there be an indication that she would, or a test or something to figure out, is she in labor or not? And she's not told either. And the mother's not told, the grandmother of the baby, her mom?
No, they're not. None of them are told. And the fact of the matter is there are two cardinal rules in an emergency room whenever you have a woman of childbearing age come into your emergency room complaining of low back pain and abdominal pain. Number one, she's pregnant until proven otherwise, no matter what she may think, because 1 in 2,500 in what we call cryptic pregnancies, 1 in 2,500 women do not know they're pregnant till they deliver. It's an alarming statistic, but it's also a pretty factual statistic. 1 in 400 to 500 women do not know that they're 20 weeks pregnant until after 20 weeks have passed. So not unusual, especially for teenage girls. So we have that situation here. That's the number one cardinal rule. The second cardinal rule is a woman of childbearing age in a hospital, and you know that she's pregnant. It says that she has to go to the bathroom because she feels like she has to defecate. You better take a good hard look and make sure she's not crowning and about to give birth, which was exactly what happened here. And they never checked.
So from your perspective, how and why did this baby die?
Well, we're still looking into that. Several experts are looking into that, including forensic pathologists, a number of doctors. More likely than not, the child may have taken a breath or two, according to the Office of the Medical Investigator, but the morphine was a critical problem for this child. We're not even sure that the autopsy is correct. Other doctors disagree with that. And so we think the child was not born alive, certainly did not breathe properly. I mean, it had 14 milligrams of morphine per milliliter in its body. That's a horrible thing, and that's really causes major breathing problems, along with some of the other drugs that had been given to her because of her low back pain. Even though halfway through they knew she was pregnant, they continued to give it to her. So there's all sorts of issues in that regard. The bottom line is she, and the testimony is pretty clear. We know that the child was not alive, that she tried to help clean up after herself. She had never been in a hospital room before and didn't know anything about pushing buzzers or cords. This was in a public bathroom in the ER. This wasn't a patient bathroom. This is a public bathroom in the ER. This is also a situation where she obviously had never had a baby before. She's the youngest in the family, so she hadn't been around when anybody else in the family had had a baby. And she had never had a vaginal examination ever in her life, and was totally unaware, and had been taking birth control, and she and her boyfriend had used birth control. And she had been working out 2 to 4 hours a night for 6 nights out of the week for months. So she never thought that she was pregnant. It came as a total shock and surprise to her.
Gary, here's the part, though, and you know the part that really people are like, come on. You're in a hospital. At the moment you realize there's a baby, there's a human coming out, why does she not ask for help, scream for help, for her mom, for a nurse, for anyone to come there? Because, you know, all the people that are upset because, I mean, this is like you're at an actual hospital. If the baby had any chance to survive, at the moment, if she just asked for help, it was there.
Well, and here's the problem. Total shock. We lawyers that have been particularly handling homicide cases most of our careers, like I have, understand that people are totally shocked by certain events. Certain people react differently to others. And she is just, you have to understand, here's a woman that has a baby and all that goes with it. Having a baby is not like you see on television where it's this perfect scene. This is a major issue. She's bleeding profusely. She has a placenta as well. And all of this is in the bathroom where she has no help and didn't realize that that there was a buzzer or a cord there that you buzzed for the nurses. I mean, this is a total shock to this young woman. And that's the big issue here. And I understand people saying, well, she knew or she didn't know, and she should have called for help. But that's not the situation that you find yourself in. You just, all of a sudden, you have a baby, then the baby is not alive, and that creates problems in and of itself when you've just given birth to a baby and the baby is not alive. And that creates other problems for you. And what do I do now? It's not like there was somebody there helping her.
Gotcha.
I mean, she went to the only place in the community to get help. And with all due respect, they didn't give her any help.
Gary Mitchell, representing Alexee Trevizo, appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.